Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. You know, I really should have a rule that I don't do anything for about 10 minutes before my live because I get involved in something and then I forget. I look up at the clock and I'm a couple of minutes late. So here I am. It's a sketch challenge night. So every Tuesday night at 6:30, I go live with a sketch challenge. And so this sketch will also post on social media, so Instagram and Facebook group and page, in about half an hour's time. So if you miss any of the measurements or the instructions as I go through, you can always pop over to Instagram or Facebook and find the information, what the measurements were for the card. And then you can watch the video again as well. All right, let's switch over to my desktop and I will show you the sketch. Now, continuing on with my theme of sketches that allow you to use up designer series paper, since we've got the designer series paper sale going on. This is the sketch we're using. So lots of options for this. You could even add an extra layer onto this that was 4 inches by 5 1/4 to add an extra layer if you wanted to use designer series paper. So your card base is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, or if you want it to be booklet fold and long and narrow, it could be 4 1/4 by 11, but you probably want to use landscape, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. Layer number 1, which is this blue piece, is 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And then you have 2 narrow little strips. So you could use a bigger piece, go underneath, but that kind of just wastes the paper. So I've got 2 pieces that are 1/4 inch by 3 1/4. And then a circle or a shape or something that you want to use that's roughly 2 1/2 inches, 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. You could use a square there. I'm going to use a 2 3/8 inch circle. It's close enough to the 2 1/2, and then I'm going to layer it. All right, so you know, I often pull out a stamp set or a bundle or a suite that I haven't used before, and I did that last night on my Zoom class, and made a card. And so it's the Gone Fishing bundle. I don't know if I can't remember what the suite's called, but anyway, it's Gone Fishing bundle. Just so perfect because we've got Father's Day coming up here in North America. I don't know if it's the same in other countries, Father's Day being in June. I'm pretty sure in Germany it's in May. But anyway, so I'm using it. So I did a Father's Day card last night. I'm going to do a happy retirement card because here on the West Coast, there's lots of people who like fishing. So I'm going to do a retirement card. And I'm doing it in, I'm loving this color combination. I did it last night. And so I've got Mossy Meadow and Wild Wheat. Just a really pretty color combination. So if you've joined me, hey, Betty. No, you're not late at all. Don't worry. All right. So I have got my supplies here. So I've got a piece of Mossy Meadow cardstock that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So we're going to score it at 4 1/4. Hey, Lynette. Hey, Nancy. All right. So we'll score it at 4 1/4. Now, I also used this last night. Now it's going to go the opposite way. I really like it to be. This is the Twisted Rope embossing folder. And it's probably going to be, there we go, you can see it a little bit. I'd kind of like it to go the opposite way, but since I'm scoring, or since I've got a landscape card, it's going to be hard to actually have it go the other way. So we will have our ropes kind of going up and down. So I'm just going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. This Twisted Rope. Now, normally I put always, and I tell people to put their embossing folders in so that the fold or the edge is going through first. But because of the way I'm scoring this, I can't do that. Oopsie, and I've got an extra plate in here. Hey, Darlene. So this is a 3D embossing folder. So you only need the platform number 1 and number 4. There we go. Now, I haven't had too many issues with the embossing folders recently, but there was a time when the embossing folders would split the fold when you put them through the wrong way. Like I said, I haven't had it happen recently, but it still is a good idea to put it through. So either the fold or the open end is going through first. So not the way I just did it, but I didn't really have a choice. So can you see that lovely texture? It's just really so pretty. And you could, I think you can use this for anything, even though it is part of this fishing suite. I'm going to turn this over. I'm trying to give it a good burnish now that it's embossed. Sometimes the embossing kind of shifts the paper and the crease a little bit. There we go. And I don't like to use my bone folder on the embossed side. And even with that, I pressed a little hard and lost some of the emboss, but that's okay. Nobody's going to notice that but me. All right. So there's this great designer series paper with this suite. I'm using, this is the one you can cut the fish out. There is one die that will cut out one. I think it's this fish. One of the fish can be cut out with a die, but it's easy to fussy cut. So I've gone ahead and cut some of these little fish out. So I've got this piece that's got fishing rods here. This is fly fishing. There we go. That looks better. So we're going to put that on. So this is in the wild wheat color. So this piece, if I could remember what my sketch looked like. Yeah, so this piece goes right up against the edge, hopefully in the middle. Now, if you wanted to use a bigger piece of cardstock instead of the little 1/4 inch strips that I've cut, then they would need to go down first. And I might have to cut new ones because I seem to have lost my little pieces of, where the heck did they go? They probably fell on the floor and I seem to have lost them. So I'm going to have to cut some extra. I have to figure out what Oh, very interesting. All right, let me grab another piece of paper. Here it is. Yeah, don't know where those two little pieces. That is the downside with using little tiny strips. So I'm using the back of this one that is kind of blue waves. Hello, who's ever coming in through Facebook? Don't forget to give Facebook permission so that I can see who's commenting. Okay, so these strips are 1/4 inch. So I'm just going to cut 2 new strips. You watch, I'll cut this and then I'll find my strips. So they are 1/4 inch by 3 1/4. And, oh, there they are. See, I told you I'd find them. They're tucked under the fish. All right, well, now I have 4 strips. Okay, so 3 1/4. There we go. Just in case these don't go on properly, I now have extras. All right, so these 2 pieces are just going to go up and butt up against this. So like I said, if you wanted to use bigger strips, you absolutely could. And it would tuck underneath. But if I look at my sketch again, so these are going to go kind of in the middle. There we go. Butt it up against. Just to add some detail to it. I got this sketch idea, and I don't have the sketch handy or the card handy from a swap that I got on the incentive trip. Well, not everybody. You could participate in a swap. You made 26 swaps, and then you got. Thank you. After I cut it out, I found them here. I've got extras. Oh well. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch a circle. Now I brought over both wild wheat and mossy meadow. I think I'm going to use the mossy meadow for the background just because it might, if I used wild wheat, it might get lost. So that's going to go on like that. Just this color combination is just so pretty. Hey, Dolores, welcome. Okay, so this is going to go on kind of right there. And then I went ahead and already cut out some of the fish. So I've cut out 3 and I have 1 more to cut out. I didn't think you wanted to watch me cut this out. So like I said, there is 1 die that you could use to cut one of the fish out, but since you have to cut the rest out, I just cut. And I'm not worrying. I'm just kind of going and leaving a little bit of edge showing around it. I love it when you can actually cut the images out of the designer series paper. There's just so many pretty paper in it. And I mean, it is very masculine, but the backing isn't necessarily masculine. And I think, you know, depending on how much of it you use, you could use it for any kind of card because there's some really pretty patterns to it. Okay, so I was thinking these fish, I was just going to pop up. So I've got 2 going this way. Kind of bigger, the one's bigger than the other. Let's put the big one in the middle. And then let's put, maybe we'll only use 3 fish. Sometimes I don't know how many I'm going to use when I pull them out. Cut up my backing on my dimensionals. Don't want those to go to waste. All right, so we're just going to put 1. And then this one I can put a couple on because it's going to be in the middle. So if you've got somebody who loves fishing, although I think Nancy's on, Nancy had the idea that the dies are amazing with this, and I'll show you in just a minute. I'm not using the dies tonight, but the dies are amazing. And there's actually, it's like a tackle box, but Nancy had the idea that you could make a bento box with it. Now, we don't have any sushi stamps, but I just think the idea of a bento box would be so much fun. Nancy, you'll have to get on that and show us your card. All right, so this is kind of like a prize stuffed fish. I guess it's probably not called stuffed fish. Mounted fish? I don't know. My brother hunts and he has all sorts of his things that he's shot. Ugh, I don't like hunting. But anyway, so people do that with fish as well, I think. All right, maybe I want to use this little one as well. Maybe he'll go right there. Okay, I'm going to stamp the sentiment. And like I said, I'm using, it's tough. I'm using the Happy Retirement. And I'm going to stamp it in Mossy Meadow. Because I just thinking while I have the Mossy Meadow out, I'm going to stamp this fly in Mossy Meadow as well, just on the inside of the card. Put that away. Okay, let's cut this out first. You could use a die. You could use a punch for your sentiments. You don't have to fussy cut like I do. But you know me. I like to fussy cut. All right. So yesterday, I was so proud of myself, I have to tell you. I told some of you, I did my very first Instagram reel. I have been wanting to do a reel for a very long time and start doing reels. So yesterday was my very first reel. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, go out and find it, Stamping with Melva. So if you just go to Instagram and search with the @ Stamping with Melva, or if you do follow me, check out the reel I did yesterday. It was with the Inked and Tiles bundle. It's not perfect, but it was my very first one, and I'm so excited that I actually got it done. Okay. let's just take that little fish just because he's kind of cute. And just, I've got him cut out. I might as well use him. Could have put him on the inside of the card, but we will just take and put him down here. And then this goes on the inside. Like that. Now, I pulled out, these are the in-colored dots. I don't know if they're quite available yet. They did go not orderable. They were really popular. And there are some in wild wheat, so I think I'm going to add them. So when they do come into stock, you want to grab yours. These are all in the new in colors. So I'm just going to take them and put 3 down here at the bottom. And then the last thing I think I want to do is I've got some linen thread. And I think I'm just going to tie a small, actually, you know what I'm doing? I'm not going to tie a bow. We had this discussion last night. Bows probably aren't very masculine. So I'm just going to kind of fold it back on each itself. I haven't got much left on this roll. And I probably should have done this, oopsie, before I glued my fish on. But I think I can still cut my twines or linen threads so it's actually not in kind of loops anymore. That wasn't very good. Okay, I'm going to just kind of take and lift my middle fish up and put the twine underneath there, or the linen thread, just to give it some interest. I'm going to tuck him underneath there. All right, there we go. A little bit of linen thread tucked on behind mine. Hey, Deborah, welcome. All right, there we go. There is my card, my retirement card, based on my sketch. If I clear off. So there was my sketch. And there's my card. I was pretty true to the sketch tonight. Sometimes I kind of go a little rogue, but tonight I actually was pretty close to it. So if you haven't checked out this Gone Fishing bundle and whole suite of products, check it out. Again, the Designer Series paper is on for 15% off through the month of June. So if you've got anybody in your family who loves to fish, this might be for them. Or if you have some great ideas for some of the other dies, like the box, then I'd love to see them. I've only just started playing with it, so I can't wait to continue. All right, everybody. Now, tomorrow night, I actually will not be live. My nephew and niece are coming in. Hey, Jacqueline, are coming in from Alberta to visit. And so we are going to have dinner with them tomorrow night. So I won't be live tomorrow night, but you can join me on Saturday at 11 a.m. For another card. So hope you have a great evening. And don't forget, if you're not part some people who have shared their projects over the course of the month. So I'd love to see what you're working on as well. And also, if you haven't joined us on Monday nights, I do a free Zoom class. I post the link to Zoom on Monday afternoons. It's at 7 o'clock Pacific. And I know that's late for some people on the East Coast, but it is 7 o'clock Pacific. It's free. We make one card. I give you the layout and the instructions, and you use your own supplies to make a card. And we just really have a nice time. So if you'd like to join me, the next one will be on June 26th. Normally it's every Monday night, but I have an appointment next Monday night. So hopefully you'll join me on some of those. Just stay tuned for the posting of the information on Instagram or on my Facebook group and page. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Hope you have a great evening. Happy stamping.